guys, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good week so far. A good day, good week, all that stuff. And today it's gonna be my personal vlog. So I haven't really done many personal vlogs. I've mainly been putting all my emphasis and focus on doing reviews and stuff like that and current issues. But I want to try my hand at vlogging right now, doing a personal vlog. And what I want to talk about today is probably one of my, if not my favorite show of all time, and that's, hold on, let me get something here. That is True Blood. As you see, I have all 3 seasons that are currently out right now. True Blood is definitely one of it's really I'm watching it right now. Actually, I'm watching on season 1. So yeah, but True Blood is definitely one of my favorite shows of all time. If not probably my favorite show. It's it's the only show that I constantly get the seasons on DVD and I watch. And I don't watch, I don't watch a lot of TV, and True Blood is just one of those few shows that I absolutely love. It's so addicting. It's just, also the fact is that I love vampires. One of the things that's so interesting is that about True Blood is it takes this concept of vampires. It's a very unique take on it. Because here in True Blood, in comparisons of other vampire stories like the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, Dracula by Bram Stoker, and I dare hate to use the word vampire and Twilight in the same sentence, but Twilight by Stephanie Myers, is that vampires are out in the open. They know, vampires are, we know they're there. They're, because in this world, what happens is this Japanese company, the concept of the show is that this Japanese company creates this synthetic blood called True Blood, hence the name of the show. And this allows vampires to what they call come out of the coffin and kind of reveal their existence to the world. And kind of with that kind of mindset in mind, which is one of the things I find interesting about vampires, and vampires trying to mainstream by only drinking the synthetic blood. Of course, not every vampire does this. You still have vampires that go out and kill people and drain them for blood and stuff like that. You have vampires that have a cadre of 1 or 2 humans that they feed off of every now and then, And but it's very it's based off a book series by Charlaine Harris called the Sookie Stackhouse series, and the show and the books revolve around this waitress Sookie Stackhouse, who is a telepath. She can she can read people's minds and draw information out of it. She can't really control how she can try to control herself and but focus try to focus herself into not reading people's minds, but sometimes she does it unknowingly, and it's very difficult for her to control her thoughts. And she falls in love with a vampire named Bill Compton, and to humorous effect of the first episode of True Blood, when she finds out his name is Bill, she just starts laughing hysterically. But yeah, I watched the show first before I read the books. I didn't know there were actually books until I looked up. I was like, oh wow. So I started reading the books, and the books are really good. I mean, of course, the books and the show are radically different. Yes, they keep characters, plots, characters, basic plot lines and stuff like that, but a lot of the story is different. They expand several side stories of characters and stuff like that. Stuff that the book really doesn't get into, because the book is kind of explained from a first-person perspective of Sookie. And but yeah, like I said, I love True Blood personally. It's so addicting. One of the things that's interesting that I notice a lot about HBO shows and shows on Showtime, HBO, that sort of thing, is that there's no character. Usually, if you watch TV shows, there are always characters who are who are generally good. They're good people. And you watch shows today. You have shows where there's good guys, there's still good guy, the whole good guy bad guy persona. While you certainly have that in True Blood and other shows in Showtime, what's so fascinating is that you have characters who are there's essentially no such thing as a good person, a purely good person. Yes, there's one character in True Blood like that, and that's Hoyt Fortenberry, but that's about it. Each character is good in their own way, bad in their own way. Some are more good, some are more evil, some are more bad, You have some people who straddle that line. It's a huge shade of gray that you don't see it a lot in modern television, especially in this world where we kind of expect to see lots of gray, And it's just, it's, that's one of the things that's so fascinating about this show. It's just the fact is that, they're willing to show that, and it's just, it's always so fascinating because you'll have a favorite character, but that favorite character isn't always, isn't always the best person. Like, my favorite character in True Blood is Eric Northman, who is a complete tool, He's an absolute jerk, but he's, at the same time, he's still, like, he's hilarious, He's still fun, it's just he has fun with being a tool and a jerk. While it's horrible, it still makes her hilarious, things and stuff like that. And you find out that he does have redeeming qualities, and it's just, it's, one of the things I really love about True Blood, I mean, probably one of the main reasons is because I love vampires. I love the whole mythology behind vampires, especially the different takes on vampires. And yes, even I've read and watched Twilight, just because it's purely vampires, to see Stephenie Meyer's take on it. While I don't approve of that take, I'm not a big fan of that take. I mean, sparkling in the sunlight, what the hell? But, I definitely really enjoy this take on, like, one of the things that also fascinates me about this vampire is that its take on vampires, I mean, they're not like the Anne Rice vampires, I mean, like, look at it. I mean, look at Anne Rice's vampires, Anne Rice's vampires, it's the similarities are very similar. Like in the case of Anne Rice's and Charlotte Harris's vampires, they could look at crosses, walk into churches, all this sort of thing, But both of the vampires in both vampires universe have an aversion to silver. And they have an aversion to silver. They have they can't go out in sunlight, obviously. Except in the world of Anne Rice, if a vampire walks out to the sunlight, it's instant death. And if in Charlene Harris's version of vampire, it's more of a slow burning. But the main difference is that, like in Anne Rice's world, compared with what vampires are hidden, You may notice someone who's a vampire, but you won't be able to tell. They're not out in the open. They're not saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm a vampire." Yes, Lestat tried to do that in the Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned, but he didn't bring in their existence. He didn't like it. Their existence is not well known. And here in True Blood, it is. Like vampires walk. And seeing that the vampires in a real world situation, which is kind of really fascinating, because you see in the real world, like, vampires have a bureaucracy, you see vampires owning bars, having houses, going to, restaurants, like, like, it's just vampire, like, and it also changes the conception of vampires, where it's not like, it's not, so very, you have vampires just like you have people from all walks of life. Yes, you definitely have the stereotypical, oh, this vampire is the epitome of sex, Like, this epitome of sexiness and godliness, You'll have that. You'll have that vampire who's just like, that's the you'll have that typical vampire who's just like, the stereotypical, like, always sexy vampire. But at the same time, you also have vampires who are not really the greatest looking vampires, You'll have, you have vampires from all walks of life, which is really fascinating, because you don't really see that in other vampire mythology. Like, you don't really see, like, the balding middle 40s fat vampire, You'll never really see that unless you watch True Blood, Like, you'll see vampires from everywhere, And you'll also see that, and this is why I love True Blood, because it's so different, but the take is not too radical like it is from Stephenie Meyer's perspective on vampires, Like, it still keeps in the dark, gritty sexuality and the sort of evil that vampires kind of sort of embody, And and the show and the books don't try to shy away from that. They understand that that's the nature of the vampire, Whereas Stephenie Meyer, she tries to deviate from that, and especially the sparkling in the sunlight, This is why, like, I don't know, just for me, that's like part of the main reasons why I love True Blood, because its take is different, but it's still like, it's still, it still keeps it. It still makes sense in the vampire world, and it's putting vampires in the real world setting, It's fascinating, and it's really like, and the show's also highly addictive, very well produced, decent special, really good actually special effects, And it's just an awesome show, And it's definitely one of, like, it just, each season each episode ends in a cliffhanger, so it makes you want to keep watching more and more and more. It's a highly addictive show, and if you guys can, I really recommend watching it. Like, Like the first 3 seasons are already out on DVD. The fourth season is premiering in 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, the 26th, I believe, is when it's airing. Let me take a look. Yep, the 26th on HBO. So, yeah, but that's pretty much all I'm talking about today. My love of True Blood and why I like it and stuff like that. So, yeah, next week I'll do the video on list of fives or list of sevens, as I'm still doing the Harry Potter thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.